The training would be more management training, not actual PR training, which he's already got. But we have heard rumors about his reputation for sexual harassment.
That's kind of a big deal.
But rumors are rumors. I mean, you can't jump to a conclusion based on the solid evidence.
But they do have to start somewhere.
I mean, the other people don't have sexual.
Well, I mean, we all know it can happen. You date a coworker, it goes bad, and then what if some girl that worked for us was just angry and started, just spouting out at work about stuff that just wasn't even realistic.
But at the same time, you don't want those rumors getting out, even if they're not true.
Well,
you don't want to.
Yeah, if we were to hire him, we'd have to do some extensive background research. And if he's been working there for 10 years, and those females haven't stepped up, it's part of their problem too. Because if they feel uncomfortable, they need to step up and say something so that we know about it before it becomes anything worse.
And another thing, you can't really not hire somebody based on a rumor. I don't think that's
true.
Legally. That might be getting into a weird place.
Well, besides, other than that, other than his rumors, everything sounds good. But then again, he doesn't really stand out and wows, us like everyone else. The only thing he wows me is inappropriate sexual events. Just that alone kind of coming out the bottom of the totem pole right there.
But then
I think he's a really safe candidate.
He's a safe candidate. Yeah. In 10 years, he already has loyalty to the company.
Yeah.
Okay, Lin Chung was recommended by the founder. The founder doesn't work here on day-to-day activities anymore, but mentors most of the executive group. So the founder, if he mentors the executive group and we're hiring for an executive position, he feels that Lin would fill that position well, and he would know. But there's a lot of iffy situations. He's married to the founder's daughter, which is a conflict of interest. She has serious and fatal form of cancer, which might mean the founder might be feeling bad for him and just trying to help him out, even if he doesn't really fit.
Could in the near future have a bunch of issues, having to deal with that.
Again, not something you can't hold that against him.
You can't hold anything against him, as long as it's not race or sexuality.
I don't know.
A lot of personal issues.
Yeah.
I think.
And he was like a previous.
Well, the thing about Lin is, everyone else have credibility of where they came from. You look at it, they've done things in the past that succeeded, and then or they have a really strong resume.
And then
except for Lin.
Got dropped.
Yeah, he got dropped. I mean, I'm not saying that he got dropped because he's a bad worker. Granted, the situation did, he might get dropped, but he did. The other people, not necessarily. And he's dating the founder's daughter. Married. I mean.
But then again, it is all about who you know.
Yeah, but you don't throw them. You don't throw them in a position of power that like that. Just because he might, he doesn't know anything. You put him there. You could take a company.
And being a sales manager is not PR. But then again, management for a large national company means that he has management experience, which is what his position is. It's really hard to make such a huge offer to someone when you only know a paragraph about them.
Yeah. People who have issues emotionally don't work very well in what I'm seeing.
It's hard because there's not much about his professional capacity in here. It's more his personal life.
So my ranking is Jane Phillips, Bill Chambers, Lin Chung, Scott Jameson, and then Tanya last.
Okay. Mine is Bill Chambers, Jane Phillips, Tanya Lewis, Lin Chung, and Scott Jameson. Yeah.
I chose Bill Chambers, Lin Chung, Jane Phillips, Tanya, and Scott.
I choose Jane, Bill, Tanya, Lin, and then last one is Scott.
I chose Bill first, then Jane, Lin, Tanya, and Scott.
Jane, Bill, Tanya, Lynn, and Scott.
I chose Tanya, Bill, Jane, Scott, and Lynn.
How much did Jen get?
Oh, she was one.
Go. Okay, but she's just gonna say the score.
Okay, so we tallied the points for all of them and we gave them each points 1 through 5. So our first choice would get 5 points, our last choice would get 1 point. So Bill got the highest with 31 points, Jane was second with 29 points, Tanya was third with 19 points, Scott was fourth with, Lynn was fourth with 17 points and Scott was last with 9 points. So that Bill and Jane were clear leaders and had a distinct separation between the rest of them.
Scott was clearly below.
And also had a distinct separation between the rest of them. So we're gonna raise our hands for who puts Bill first.
Who wants Bill?
Go first.
Yeah, but we need you guys to raise your hand. So who wants Bill? Just raise your hand. So I just film you guys raising.
So this is who put Bill first.
Okay, majority rules.
Okay. And then who put Jane first?
That's it. Okay. That's about race and so did female or male influence your decision for picking your candidates?
Was gender an issue?
Like gender issue, yeah.
I don't think gender
I don't
was an issue.
think, gender wasn't really an issue.
It's mainly about the resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about race? Was race an issue?
To me,
Not for me.
Yeah.
well, for me it did actually, because he's like a brother to me. I'm Asian too, so I know his background, I understand where he's coming from. So I'm like, I want him to get the position. Yeah. You know they say no ratio, but I'm a little bit towards. It's like I'm too Asian for that.
Alright. What about background? Was background an issue, like financially or?
Yeah.
Background.
It was a big issue.
Why
I mean, there were like cultural backgrounds.